Brainstorm yet again. No need for Jace to go anywhere other than 3. 3 is the perfect number. There's Disfigure there, Mana Leak. Paolo looking like he's got all the options, attack you for 2. And very soon Randall is going to have to go for something. If nothing else, he's probably going to have to try and oust Seagate Oracles and just try and not be at 4 and 2 and 0.
I believe there's a Creeping Tar Pit, which is lethal next turn, but there are 2 Tectonic Edges.
Our first glimpse of Christopher Wolf, also looking sharp in the background in a high-quality purple shirt. So, negate, that's not going to do very much, and Randall goes to 8 cards, so he will discard one of his ousts. He's got Stoic Rebuttal. It's all reactive, it's not very proactive, and proactive is what he needs.
And planes are kind of what he needs at this point.
Yeah, and Paolo therefore is going to make sure he doesn't see any by Fate Sealing. Jace goes to 5.
No reason to activate the Creeping Tar Pit. Just says, I'm pretty happy to let you draw nothing of note this turn.
And approximately now, we're going to be done in game 1. Spreading Seas to try and see an extra card. Paolo looks to me like he may be dealing with that in a comprehensive, actual hard counterspell fashion. None of this Mana Leak nonsense, just an actual straight-up no.
He's going to animate and disfigure his Creeping Tar Pit.
Okay.
It says, no card draw for you. Negate the disfigure.
I'm going to try and stop you killing your guy. Please don't kill your guy. Crazy.
And that is all she wrote.
That is all she wrote. So we are going to take you across to Table B, which features Guillaume Matignon of France and Eric Froelich of the United States. It sounds like Lovi Janser is in very good shape in Game 2. We'll see whether he's actually equalized or not shortly as we head across to the Frenchman Matignon and Eric Froelich. Long way still to go in Paolo Vida Dama de Rosa against Jonathan Randall. 23-year-old Paolo Vida, 28-year-old Jonathan Randall playing in his first Pro Tour top 8, Paolo's 7th. But let's take you across to Table B, Eric Froelich against Guillaume Matignon. The matchup here, blue-black control for the Frenchman and Vampires for Eric Froelich from Las Vegas, Nevada. There you see the 2 players. Guillaume Matignon on the far side of the screen, just waving his little French flag, making sure that everyone sees that, and Eric Froelich going to war. And as you say, he does look extremely well kept this morning.
Yep.
So Matignon, the 29-year-old from France, of course, Bordeaux, 2nd Pro Tour top 8 of the season. He was the runner-up to Paolo Vida Dama de Rosa. There's Eric Froelich from Las Vegas, Nevada. Not top 10 in the Player of the Year race as long ago as 2002. So he's been around a while.
6 Grand Prix top 8s. He has a Grand Prix top 8 this season. He has Nationals top 8 this season.
And we open up
Bloodgast.
Blood. Yeah. Or as I call it, Bloodgast. Gassed. What's that? So
You're just trying to make it harder for me to pay off on our wager.
that is true. So Bloodgast piles in. Sounds like Waffa Tapper has just had Memory Side cast against him to get rid of Grave Titans. And
there's a 2/2
vanilla
Gatekeeper of Malakir.
Indeed.
Which gets disfigured.
Rashad, did Janser win Game 2 against Wolf?
So Janser in good shape against Wolf in Game 2, but the blue-black control man from Austria is still fighting. Waffa Tapper 1 up, but just had his Grave Titans sent away. So here we are with Matignon against Vampires.
Inquisition of Kozilek sees Calastria Highborn, Lightning Bolt, and I believe that's a Feast in Blood.
So that's from the sideboard. Feast of Blood.
Feast of Blood,
you need to have 2 vampires. If you do, you get to kill something and you gain 4 life.
Takes the Calastria Highborn. Get a little bit of an engine going between Calastria Highborn, Bloodgast, and Viscera Seer. So you can sack your You sack your Bloodghast, you scry the top of your deck, you're like, oh, look, there's a land, I'll keep it there.
You pay one, you do the...
Yeah. Lava Claw Reaches from Eric Froelich.
Spelling of Matignon is incorrect. There is no N in Matignon, but it's M-A-T-I-G-N-O-N. The first N does not exist.
A little bit of a land-heavy draw from Matignon. He has 2 Creeping Tar Pits.
Mm-hmm. Bloodghast will go back to business. You see Lava Claw Reaches there for Eric Froelich. That was a card synonymous with Simon Gertzen, the first Pro Tour champion of this year. Had a tremendous run in Standard. Day 1 got to 5-0, but that was actually as good as it got for Simon. He lost the last round to Pierre Canali and kind of fell away on draft day 2.
And there's a Calastria Highboard.
Spot on.
It resolves. Spreading
Lava
Sea
Claw
on the
Reaches.
Is this the most spreading seas we've seen in the top 8 so far?
I think it probably is. I mean, we were expecting it this time last year, weren't we? I mean, there was... I'm trying to think who was playing Spreading Seas in the top 8 of Rome. See a Grave Titan there in the French hand. No blocks.
So it looks like we have 20 Spreading Seas in this top 8.
That's plenty, isn't it? 20's plenty. Chris Wolf has Grave Titan down, but Loviansa came up with Terastodon, got rid of 3 of his own land, so that's the full 18 power of men. You make 10 power of men, how about 18 for me?
There's a Grave Titan for
Matignon.
Matignon. We assume that that is going to be feasted on.
Let's see, looks like a Burst Lightning in hand. It looks like, yep, there's the feast, sends it packing.
Yes.
And Froelich goes up to 24, which is not something that Matignon cares about particularly. Once he's winning, he's winning.
He's just going to send in Bloodghast.
It's got a very posh Lightning Bolt in hand. Or is that a Burst Lightning? It's out comes Duress. So we see Jace the Mind Sculptor, Mana Leak, and Misty Rainforest. Again, please.
Takes the Jace.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Guillaume Wafatapa has returned the favour to Lucas Yaklowski, taking away all his Grave Titans with a memory side for the Frenchman.
In the nya match.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing much of that later on.
Guillaume has drawn his card for the turn, and we find out that it's Duress.
And now we see what exactly is going on in Froelich's hand. There was a very nice posh Lightning Bolt.
There's also a Burst Lightning.
Which is not really what you want to see when you're already at 8 life, and there's plenty of stuff on the table, and the ability to Calastria Highborn you. Had a little Grimace Matignon at that.
Attacks with Creeping Tar Pit.
Who knows, maybe Froelich would have bolted it. Maybe not. In with the Bloodghast. Matignon runs his hand through his hair. And knows that he's in trouble here. Palavida Dharma Rosa and Jonathan Randall are just underway in their second game.
So.
And the Terastodon 18 power of guys for Loviansa from Sweden ties up the match against his Austrian opponent, Blue-Black Control, Chris Wolf 1, Loviansa 1.
Meanwhile, the Bloodghast is traded with one of the tokens. And Eric paid the black for the Colostria Highborn.
You see Guillaume Waffatapa and Lucas Jaklowski in the background.
That is game to Eric Froelich.
It is, so we are tied at 1-1. We will stay with this game. We'll give you game 3 from the get-go. Vampires, because Vampires, as I say, it's one of those decks, archetypes that so many people have wanted to be good for a very long time. And it's a deck that just got pushed over the edge once people went, yeah, I don't have to be just black. I can run the burn.
Right, and again, the red was, I mean, a lot of the red, the push towards the red was the active treason, mark of me type of action to steal Primeval Titans and Inferno Titans and Grave Titans and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But the burns turned out to be quite nice.
Indeed.
And we don't see those cards in Eric's deck.
Talking to Eric Froelich yesterday, he was saying that he came back to Magic because Magic was all about the gathering. It was about the friendships. And you look at his Grand Prix record, and he has Team Grand Prix top 8 in New Jersey in 2002, Amsterdam 03, Washington 04, Madison 06, and always with fellow travelers. And he loves that aspect of the game. You see him there, and he said, I came back, and this is another of those trends we're seeing increasingly, and you're very aware of this, I know, how players from the early days of the Pro Tour left the game, went away, started to make their mark in the world of business and so on, set up their .coms or whatever it is, and became hedge fund traders, boo. And then now all of a sudden in their late 20s, early 30s, here they are back again and discovering that not only is the game still here, bigger and better than ever, but their friends are all still here and bigger and better than ever.
Sure, absolutely. And they know it's going to be a resource for new friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in terms of just people who are like-minded, you know, young, smart people who, you know, people form these social networks around the game.
Eric was saying this. He said, you know, it isn't just about the old guys. He said, you look at Palavida Dama de Rosa and your Brad Nelsons, your Louis Scott Vargas, Ochoa, Josh Huddle-Layton. They're a great bunch of guys to hang out with as well as test with.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just look at Eric Froelich. His two running buddies generally will be Dave Williams, who's as old school as he is, and Matt Sperling, who's recently made his mark on the Pro Tour.
Absolutely. Sperling just missed out. He lost to Christopher Wolfe in the penultimate round to essentially take him out of top 8 contention yesterday.
Quite a good year for him, by the way.
Sperling,
absolutely. He's got a 15th place, a 19th place, and a 22nd place at the last 3 Pro Tours.
Yes, that is pretty good going. So we're getting ready for Game 3 here. Randall, I can tell you off screen, has Jace Bellerin down.
And he's had it down for quite some time.
Which is good news for him. Also, even better news is that he won't be running Oust anymore. So he felt that the matchup improved a little after Game 1. And he's feeling confident enough to run a Mana League on a preordain. I can tell you that we have another game score over here between Guillaume Waffatapa and Lucas Jaklowski. The blue-black mirror has advanced somewhat, BDM.
With all the Grave Titans gone from the match, Guillaume Waffatapa looked to Jace the Mind Sculptor to be his win condition.
And how is Jace the Mind Sculptor as a win condition? Does that work out okay?
Pretty darn swell.
Well, so Guillaume Waffatapa leads his Czech opponent Lucas Jaklowski by 2-0. Lucas Jaklowski, interesting guy, was part of the Czech national team last year at Worlds that finished 3rd, and they absolutely paced the team across the 3 days. Totally outstanding, utterly dominant performance, and then of course they ran in to the Chinese on Super Sunday in the semi-finals, but Jaklowski, very impressive. Talking to him, we talked a little last night about how almost calm, you know, just calm he was about making it here. And yeah, I thought 5-1 in standard was about right, and I'd done lots of drafting, so yep, thought I'd do well there, and then extended. I had a good deck, so yep, here I am. It's good. It's good. And he did crack a smile at the end. It was like, yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
he seemed to be, he was calm, but it seemed like he was trying to keep his explosiveness under control.
So we are away in Game 3. Guillaume Matignon kicks us off.
With a creeping tar pit.
And on the other end, Marsh Flats.
I think we let him play.
Preordain from Matignon on turn 2. Frolic has Dark Tutelage, Calastria Highborn, a Gatekeeper of Malakir, a bunch of land.
Dark Tutelage is an amazing card for him in this matchup. His opponent's not going to deal a ton of damage to him. And if he can get that card to stick, he's just going to draw. You know, he's going to provide more threats than the control deck can deal with.
Yep.
Especially a blue-black control deck, which does not have access to Wrath. Although it does have Consume the Meek. He has 2 Consume the Meek main. And I guess he has 3 Ratchet Bombs as well.
The thing is, with Bloodghast, it just keeps on coming back. So,
Absolutely.
you know, all this mass removal doesn't necessarily get you very far. It's why you like things like Path to Exile.
Oust seems like it might be pretty good against Bloodghast.
Well, Randall has some spare right now, so...
And there's a Gatekeeper of Malakir.
And end of turn, disfigure. Let's just get rid of it. Send it packing. I'd like to stay at around about 20 so that when I duress you next time, I'm not at 8, as in the previous game. So there's Spreading Seas. From Matignon, draws a card, lays another land.
If they're still going at the end of this game, we'll go to Rafatata and Newcastle.
Sure.
Jace Bellerin continues to be in play for Jonathan Randall in Game 2. He's 1 down on Palavida Dama de Rosa of Brazil, of course.
Jace has only 1 counter on it at the moment.
So that's 4 card in. 5. I don't know to count.
Again, Matignon deep in thought. And he makes his decision, and his decision is 4 mana. I would like Jace TMS. I'm going to Fate Seal. Get it up to 5. Make it tough for you to kill Jace off in simple fashion.
16.
Oh, there's a Dark Tutelage in play for Eric Frolic that
Yep.
is below the score band. I did not see that.
So, and takes 3 for revealing Dark Tutelage.
They both have engines in play.
Frolic, there he is. He's going to duress, and he will see Spreading Seas, Mana Leak, and land. How much land does the Vampires deck want to run off, ideally? Sitting at 3 right now.
Really doesn't need more than 4. You know, it wants to have enough mana to, you know, keep recycling those. Actually, it's going to want a lot if it's doing its Bloodghast tricks. 4 or 5. Oh, there's a
Vampire Nighthawk. 2/3 flying, Death Touch,
Lifelink.
Lifelink, makes the T. It's quite good.
So it also offsets the life loss from the Dark Tutelage.
I think my most miserable pre-release experience ever was getting beaten by Vampire Nighthawk in about 5 out of the 6 rounds. When that set came out, I went, I don't want to see you ever again. But here it is.
Oh, by the way, over on the Randall PV match, we have a Gideon Jura with, you know, a bunch of counters on it.
And it looks like Randall is doing pretty nicely there. Inquisition of Kozilek from Paolo has been negated by Randall. But in our current main game, we have Jace the Mind Sculptor for Guillaume Matignon.
It looks like he used the bounce ability to send the Nighthawk back.
And there you see Frolic's hand with the US flag in the background. Oh look, it's a Vampire Nighthawk. Oh look, it's a Mana Leak for the Vampire Nighthawk. Frolic at 15 now. Interesting that in this top 8 you have 3 players who are in their second Pro Tour top 8 of the season.
Stunning.
I mean, what a performance. You have Guillaume Matignon, who, of course, was runner-up to Paolo in San Juan. You have Paolo Vita Dama de Rosa, who beat Guillaume Matignon in the final of San Juan. And then you have Guillaume Wafatapa, who many people, in a way, forget that he was in the top 8, you know, just a few short months ago.
Yeah, the top 8 from Amsterdam was so star-studded that it was like, oh, yeah, and Guillaume Wafatapa.
You know, that amazing control player with a Pro Tour title to his name. Yeah, he lost 3-1 in the quarters. That was kind of it. Here is Grave Titan for Guillaume Matignon. Was that you going inside the head of Eric Froelich there?
Yes, yes.
I thought so. I thought it might be.
Eric's looking upward for an answer.
Yeah. Whereas really the cards are actually down a bit.
Too many targets.
Too many